If you want massive glute growth in the gym, I'm going to break down my personal favorite exercises for you today. Not only this, but I'm also going to show you the exercises that are absolutely wasting your time so that you can stop doing them. The reason why I wanted to make this video is because a lot of you women train really, really hard, but you don't necessarily train according to your goals. If your goal is to grow glutes, for example, I want you to stop focusing on your quads. So if you've been doing a bunch of squats, for example, this is a great video for you because you're going to learn that there are more efficient ways of doing that. So before we get into the sauce, if you love learning more from me and in this channel, why don't you make sure that you also subscribe to this channel? That would mean the world to me, and that way you never miss my new videos. I post about gym workouts, how to lose fat, how to become more confident in your body, and how to actually become consistent so that you can start trusting yourself again. And a quick note before we go deeper, if you want to build a physique that feels really, really aligned with your goals, growing glutes, losing fat, building muscle, and stepping up in the level of confidence that you have about yourself, why don't you book a free 15-minute call with me? No strings attached, where we can create a game plan for you. And whether or not we're going to start working together after this, you're going to walk out of this call with a lot more clarity. Before we rank our exercises, I want to give you just a little bit of anatomy, and I'm going to do this Claudia style, which is very simple, and I'm going to use no jargon words so that you really understand this. So we're going to break down your beautiful glutes. So there are 3 muscles that are important to know: glute maximus, glute medius, and glute minus. Let's break them all down. The biggest one of them all is glute maximus. He or she, whatever you want to call it, is especially responsible for any hip extension. So if you do like hip bridges, hip thrusts, anything of that, you are most likely training your glute maximus. But it's also very active in almost every glute exercise. It is also really important for your rotation, so to rotate your leg, and hence you cannot go around it. So the medius is the one on top, or when you want to build a little bit more of a side body, this is the one you want to look out for. Also a very important stabilizing muscle, meaning it really helps your pelvis alignment. So all women who become pregnant, this is really, really important for you to know. And also in general, just supports your back a lot. It also really helps with hip abduction. So if you ever heard the words upper glute shelf, this is the one muscle. And just like the glute medius, the glute minimus is also key in stabilization. So if you're struggling with, for example, one leg exercises, just in general to stabilize your hip, this is also one of the key muscles to train. So see, training glutes is not just for physique purposes, it actually really helps with everyday movements. And unfortunately, in nowadays world, these beautiful glutes are dormant a lot because of our sedentary lifestyle. Now let's get into the exercises. I have ranked them in a way that make sense to me and the results of my clients. Now let me tell you what I am really focused on. Number 1, high muscle tension. I want you to be able to really isolate the muscle and be able to really grow them quickly. So I'm going to focus on making sure that all of these movements are easy to learn and don't require a lot of technique and science behind it, so that you can go ahead, start doing them, and really quickly also start seeing results. So my focus is on that, number 1. Meaning I want to get a stretch position of the muscle as much as possible. My second most important priority for all of you guys is that it's comfortable. I don't want you to end up having knee pain or hip pain or ankle pain. So anything that will take away too much of your focus in order to focus again on balancing and all of that is not going to be on this list for exactly that specific reason. And third, I already said it, progressive overload. I want you to be able to really achieve results with this. So not only am I choosing exercises that again are comfortable and don't cause you any knee pain and stretch the muscle, but also are easy to start loading up quickly. Okay, you ready? Number 1 favorite exercise for glutes is the Nautilus drive machine, or also referred to as the glute drive machine. Now, I'm referring to a specific type of machine. You can Google this name. But this machine makes it so easy for you to build your glutes because it's very, very comfortable. It's the one where there's a belt around. You can literally just sit in and you don't need to lose a lot of time understanding how to set yourself up as you would if you were just to do this with a normal barbell hip thrust. I love this one because you can really load it heavily. It's super simple. So if you have this in your gym, this is the one I want you to look out for. Most gyms have a glute machine. So just check out what type of glute machine there is. I really hope it's a high quality one. And then follow these cues. Whenever you start your movement, really think of your breath first, okay? You want to keep your ribs down. So you're going to breathe in. You're going to trap the air, brace the core. This is where your ribs go down, so you're not going to flare them out, okay? And you're going to keep your pelvis neutral. Neutral means not doing anything that goes into an arch position and also not pressing them in too much. That is exactly what we want to look for. Then when you bridge, you want to go into a full lockout. So you want to be a straight line from your knees all the way basically to your chest in your full glute drive. You don't need to overarch here. And I want you to really think of squeezing your glutes all the time, not just on the top. Another little tip that I like to use, instead of having your feet parallel like this, I like to have them just slightly out like that, just to get that medius popping a little bit more. Number 2 is a single leg dumbbell hip thrust. These are also great to do at home. So for all of you who are not in the gym yet, this is a great one to do. It's definitely going to be in any of my programs if you ever worked with me. Now, why is this one so great? Because it also works on one of the key elements, which is stabilization. So your minimus and medius glute are highly activated. Here, again, you don't get that much support as you do in the machine, and you're required to work on your balance a lot. And because it's a unilateral move, meaning a single leg movement, there are a few more components that also come into place and make this really challenging. Because it is a single leg movement though, you can probably not load it super heavily, which is fine. What you can do is go higher on the reps and really perform clean reps. I recommend 12 to 15 reps, for example, in this one, going for like 3 sets on each leg. Same cue points right here. One extra cue point I want you to think about is keeping your chin in. So think of doing this, so holding on to the t-shirt, so keep your chin in. Think of the same thing that I gave you before with the ribs in. So breathe in, expand the ribs, then push them down, brace the core as if you're about to be punched, and you are mainly good to go. Another little tip for your setup is sit straight against whatever object that you're going. Make sure the object doesn't move back. Then again, as you're sitting straight, check where your knees touch, and then place something, any object, on exactly the height where your knees start. So the lower part of your knee, okay? And that is usually where your heels are gonna go. And then hip width apart, try it out. And if you need some extra support in these, leave a comment, because if you're really struggling with balance, there are a few more extra tips I can give you to make the single leg glute movement a little easier. Number 3 must be the most hated exercise of all times, and it is the Bulgarian split squat. However, it is highly effective, and that is why you will always see me doing them, even though I hate them. The reason why they're so effective is because you get this deep stretch that we talked about. So if you're doing them correctly, you will feel that deep stretch that we're talking about. Now, here are a few more things I want you to know about the Bulgarian split squat. They are super exhausting, so usually you don't need more than 2 sets on each leg. If you take a longer stride, meaning sit on whatever object that you are, sit and just extend your leg, then keep your leg exactly there, or better said, your foot. Place it there. Get up, and then scoop the other leg on top, then you're probably in that stride motion. Then you want to look down to the ground, never forward, and think of bringing the knee of the back leg towards your object. So it's not a straight down line, it's like a curve movement. Now, this is one thing. You can already get great results with that, but if you want some extra then this is what I recommend. Do it elevated. So put a weight plate on underneath the front foot, okay? Elevation, so you can go a little deeper. And if you want some more torture, because why not? We're sadists over here. We're going to be holding a weight, a dumbbell right here, and turn 90 degrees down the way turn towards the glute that's working. And which glute is working? The one of the front leg. You're welcome. One of the best overall glute builders are actually walking lunges. And yes, you can also do them at home. Why are they so great? Because they require you to move around and stabilize again a lot. Think of the same thing that I've given you before. Long strides is the way. We want a stretch. The more we have a stretch, the better. So grab 2 dumbbells and then really make big steps. Keep a slight 30-degree hinge, so we're looking down to the ground again, okay? And bring that knee as close as you can towards the ground without really dropping or touching it though. I like to do like 20 walking lunges, so I count 20 sets on them. Think of squeezing something like a grapefruit. I don't know why I said that. There's a guy on Instagram that keeps saying that, so I guess that's why I've been influenced. But think of squeezing something in between your armpits so that you have tension there as well, and start walking. You want to keep hip width strides and make sure your knee, the front knee, is steady and stable, not falling in, not turning out too much. And another great cue point is think of pushing the floor away each time you take a step. Another great exercise, which requires maybe a little bit of knowledge first, is the 45 degrees back extension. If we're focusing on making a glute focus, it is one of the greatest ones because, again, you get the stretch in. So that's this weird machine, okay, where you need to lean over. Now make sure that you set that up correctly. Best Google it, make sure it's a 45-degree back extension glute focus, and then find the right setup for you. It's really important that your hip is over it so that you can get the stretch. So you cannot have it as high because otherwise you start training the back, and you notice that pretty quickly. In order to get the glutes really to be stretched and pumping, think of having a slightly rounded back too. You can hold onto a weight, so keep it close to your chest. This is how I would hold a weight. Butterfly hug. And then you slightly round and you come up to here. You don't need to overextend, just enough is absolutely fine. Squeeze the shit out of your glutes. So again, come up. Hinge also, at the hips. I like to have my feet slightly turned out, slightly, to feel the glutes really firing up. Okay, next we're going to talk about the machine hip abductions. This really trains the upper glute. I love this machine, and I don't think there's any other exercise that gets close to this. So the hip abductions are super important for your training program. If you're in the gym, go use them. They're highly recommended. It's very simple, it's very stable, and you can really max out on a lot of reps here too. You can even do a hip abduction and then do the adduction machine, which is usually just next door or on the same machine as well. I recommend you to go with a mid-level weight here. Think high level and lean slightly forward. So don't lean back on the actual chair. Lean forward, still holding on to that little security thing that you get. Lean forward and push that goddamn thing out as much as you can. Hold the squeeze for a second, slowly bring it back in. See how many you can do, but usually 12 to 15 is the magic number. Okay, and of course I'm going to be talking about deadlifts, but I'm only going to be referring to the Romanian deadlift because I think they're actually the greatest ones for glute growth. Here is why. You get a nice little stretch in the hamstring again, and your glutes are firing up. And in most cases, again, they're easier to add progressive overload to them, and they don't fatigue you as much as a conventional deadlift would, where you're picking up the weight from the ground. I highly recommend you understand how to do the deadlift motion first before you go heavy on them. They are really good. So make a little bit of research, or again, if you need to learn it, leave a comment down below and I'll help you give you more cue points about it. This is what I'm here for, so use the comments. But in general, think hip width stand. You're pushing the weight back, so the weight is a little bit more in your heels, and it's really hip hinging, so go back. I like to do them for beginners against or close to a wall so that you can visualize that you're driving your hips back to the wall. Okay, your spine is just going with the movement. So if you're hinging, keep your spine straight. Obviously, think of the grapefruit or whatever you want to think of. Squeezing here again, so you keep your back also under tension, yeah, and then start the movement. And side note, you do not need to chase the floor. You just go as far as you can control it and as far as the stretch goes. So if you land somewhere below your knees, that's absolutely fine. Do it nice and slowly down and nice and slowly up. Now let's talk about the worst exercises to do. And I know that a lot of you are probably doing them, so this is not a criticism. They're just not really, really worth it if you want an effective glute growth that isn't wasting your time. So here are the two exercises I would absolutely avoid. Donkey kicks and fire hydrants. I see all the girls doing them, and honestly, they don't do much for you. If at most, I would do them as a warm-up exercise. Yeah, a warm-up exercise. But then go and put some heavy tension, heavy low, big stretch on your muscles to achieve the physique that you actually want. Now, again, I'm not saying they're bad, but they require a lot of technique. So you've probably noticed that you're like not sure what you are doing. And that is exactly why I would absolutely avoid them and really focus on these other major key movements that really help you nail it and see results and feel it. So maybe you're asking yourself, how many times should I be training glutes in a week? Well, I'm glad you're asking. Honestly, it really depends on how much time you have. But if you can get glutes in twice a week, that's enough. Now, focus on the following thing. Get one big thrust movement, get one hinge movement in, get one single leg movement in, and abductions. Just get them in all the time. Now, if you can hit the gym 3 times a week, then maybe do a full leg day where you can do all of these patterns, and then maybe a full body day as well on the 3rd day where you have some of these movements coming back in plus upper body. If you have more time than this, like 4 times a week, I recommend that you have 2 full leg days. And again, they don't need to be the same thing. I can break down an actual plan for you, but then we need to talk a little bit more about specifics. So I'm not going to give you further recommendations than just this. One thing I do want you to know is that you don't need 12 exercises. If you focus on the exercises that I've given you, or take at least 4 of them, again, I've given you what I mean: drive, hinge, single leg, and abduction, you are good to go. And then just max out and work on progressive overload, meaning going heavier every time. Well, not every time, but going heavier with time. And one more note on that. What do I mean with progressive overload? You want to go with a weight that you can absolutely do a few reps in. If I can give you like a general recommendation of repetitions, it really depends. So don't hold on to that number too much, but you can go with like 10 to 12 reps or 8 to 12. Okay. The right weight for you is one where you can go really heavy. You feel challenged, but you still have like 1 or 2 reps in the tank. That's how you kind of know, like, okay, I can handle this weight for like 3 sets, for example. And then once you come up to the point where it's really, really okay, and you have at least 4 more reps in the tank, it is time for you to up the weight. You heard me. That is it. Please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want some extra help building the physique that you want, losing fat, feeling really confident, and start trusting yourself, building a plan that works also with your lifestyle, again, this is my recommendation, that you take this opportunity to jump on a 50-minute clarity call with me. You walk away with clarity. I will send you free resources if I can. And if I do think that we can help you further, then me and my team will give you an invitation if you qualify to work with us on the long run, and we can actually get these results going 100% guaranteed. Thanks so much for listening to this, and see you on the next one.